being overweight is going to guarantee you a hard life. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hey, look, I know some people that are successful and they're overweight. I get it. I've seen them. I see them all the time. But that does not mean that their life is just on cruise control. No one's life is on cruise control. But you better believe when you are overweight, when you have 50, 60, 40, 80 pounds of excess fat, you are gradually chipping away at the quality of your life, whether that be your romantic life. Hey, look, let's just be honest. This channel talks a lot about the male-female dating dynamics and sexuality, okay? So I gotta bring this in. Your romantic life is gonna be straight ass. I've made videos about how money is not gonna save you if you are overweight, because all that's gonna happen is the chick is gonna get with you as an overweight guy because she's gonna see you as a mark. She's gonna think in her head, I know this guy doesn't really have too many options. And a lot of times that is true. So she's gonna get with you and drain those resources and try to play nice with you. And this whole time, this whole thing has been transactionary. And when I say transactional, I mean she is trading maybe sex for money, okay? She's not trading her intimacy for your intimacy or sex appeal. There's nothing sexual there. It's just a monetary, cold-hearted transaction. And a lot of guys are still not going to believe that, but that's okay because they're going to find out the hard way. Like, you being overweight is just adding fuel to that dumpster fire of your life, okay? It is adding of fuel to that dumpster fire that is your life. And guys that are overweight, they know this. They inherently know this when they put their clothes on and they got to keep fidgeting to fix it because their stomach keeps popping out, or they're walking in somewhere and they know damn well people are staring at them, because as advanced and politically correct as we are, being big is something that we're just biologically geared to look down upon. It's just biologically in us. I don't care how many body positivity, how many fat shaming, or any of these tactics to get people to kind of accept obesity. I don't care how many movements there are. People are just hardwired to look down on people that are overweight. Is this harsh? I don't think so, okay? Only reason that is harsh is because in recent years, whoever the hell is making all of these movements like body positivity and so forth shamed people into thinking that. But the reason why we kind of look down upon people that are overweight, or we kind of look at them like, dang, he or she needs to do better, is because inherently we know that being overweight comes from poor habits. It comes from a lack of discipline. It comes from laziness. So people are gonna see this. Obviously, they're gonna see this, and guys that are overweight, like I was saying in the beginning, they gotta keep adjusting their shirts. They walk in somewhere, people are gawking at them. Little kids, this is this is jacked up. But little kids might say something. They might be like, "Mommy, look at him. He's big." Right? It's real talk, stuff like that. When these overweight guys go to work, they constantly get ridiculed. They're hearing overweight jokes left and right, and people do not care. They are very liberal. When I say liberal, I'm not talking about the political party that made the whole body movement bullshit in the first place. I'm just saying they're very generous with their overweight jokes. And like I said, even though we live in a politically correct society, it's gonna slip out. It's gonna happen. I've seen it time and time again, to where it's like you get secondhand embarrassment for the guy, even though it's his fault or her fault. Women don't really face this too much because people are easier on females. But hey, man, if you're a guy, obviously this channel is geared towards men. Fellas, if you are overweight in your job site, you know damn well, I don't even have to tell you, you know damn well that you hear all types of ridicule. You hear all type of little jokes, snarky comments, and the shit sucks. It's not nice. It's not funny. but you have to play along like you do find it funny, because if you do try to defend yourself, you're defending something that is negative to begin with, so people aren't even going to take you seriously, right? And if you do defend yourself, people are just gonna be like, hey man, lighten up. You're taking this the wrong way. You know how people try to gaslight you into thinking that you're overreacting, but really you're not, because they're making fun of you. But this is the type of stuff that happens, right? People, when you walk into the store, when you walk into your job, school, etc., you're gonna be invisible, dog. You're gonna be big as hell. I forgot who made this comment, man, but they said the biggest people in a room are the most invisible. And that shit is crazy. The comment was something to that extent, right? If you're big, you're gonna be invisible. The bigger you are, the more invisible you are, and that's jacked up. It's messed up, but it is quite true. If you're in an environment or a setting, a social setting, you're gonna be invisible. People are not really going to want to interact with you as much, and you might be the coolest guy ever, but people are just not gonna look at you as with admiration. As opposed to, if you're in shape, you're going to be getting smiles, you're going to be getting pleases and thank yous, and people are going to be holding the door for you, all that good stuff. You're going to be getting interaction. People are going to be curious to talk with you. You know what I'm saying? The ladies are going to be looking at you. They're going to be stealing glances. They're going to hang out in your vicinity. If you're big, man, people aren't even going to look your way. They are going to look your way, but not in a way that you want, right? Not in a positive way. And I know what someone is thinking, like, F what people think. And to a certain extent, yes, I do agree with that, especially if you are on the journey to losing weight, right? Especially if you watch my videos or someone else's videos and you're like, you know what, I'm going to change this shit around. I'm going to start getting my stuff together. Then yeah, you shouldn't care what people think, because you know you're going to shed that fat and you're going to look great. But what I'm talking about is that, you know, dudes who have no intention of changing, they know that they're invisible in most places. They know that most of the time women aren't looking at them. The guy that's lean, the guy that's in shape, he's walking in, he has plenty of opportunities, whether that's for a job, whether that's romantic, all of the above. The guy that's big, he slashes those opportunities in half, because people are going to treat you based on what? Appearances, because appearances are an indicator of something deeper, right? They're an indication of poor discipline. They're an indication of low discipline. So people are just going to treat you like that. You know, it's like an indication that you don't really respect yourself. So this is how people are going to react, and this is how they're going to treat you. They're going to treat you accordingly, and you're just making life so much harder. You can't fit in the clothes that you want, right? When you try to shop for clothes to try to look good, you know, you want to feel fresh, you can't find anything. And the whole clothing thing might seem a little shallow, but it really means so much, right? Because when you're lean, you can buy some cheap ass shirt and you're going to look great in it. When you're big, you're not going to be able to find any clothes. You're not going to be able to fit in anything. When you walk around, not only are you going to be tired as hell quickly because your health is declining. That's another huge aspect of how you're making your life harder, is you're making your health decline, right? Not only is your health declining and you're sweating profusely and you're struggling even just walking, right? The productivity at work ain't that good because you're big and you get tired quick. Not only that, but you're super self-conscious. When you're walking, you are self-conscious as hell because you feel like everyone is staring at you, and you kind of are right. People are gawking at you. People are kind of judging you, right? People are kind of judging you, and it's no good. Like at work, you're gonna have lower productivity because you're gonna be getting tired. Your joints are gonna be achy. Guys, when I was 40 pounds overweight, I always used to have lower back and knee problems. I always used to have problems with my joints. Why is that? Because that excess fat is pressing down on your joints. You are not supposed to be carrying around 50, 60, 40 pounds of and above, 80 and above pounds of excess fat. That's going to mess your joints up. You're always going to have lower back pain. You're always going to have sleep apnea. You're not going to be able to sleep that good. You're always going to be tired as hell. You know, you can't even If you have an old lady, if you have a wife, you can't even put it down properly because you can't even see your meat. I've talked about this. You can't even get blood flow to your meat when you have all that fat blocking your, your little man down there. That blood is not going to be flowing right, and on top of that, you can't even see your meat because you got rolls of fat covering it, and that is just making your life hard, whether you're trying to find a mate or whether you're already married or in a relationship. And to be quite frank, being overweight in a relationship is, let's just be quite frank, relationship suicide. Over and over and over again, guys have, their woman has lost respect for them, and they don't want to believe it. They don't want to believe, oh, it's not because I'm overweight. That's stupid as hell. And then their wife starts treating them with disrespect, and they're like, what the fuck? It's because inherently, subconsciously, she knows that you're not respecting yourself. She sees how you're eating. She sees your terrible habits, and you're supposed to be the leader, right? You're supposed to be the leader of the household, like a lot of these red pill channels and all that shit tell you. But at the same time, you're leading yourself into diabetes, high blood pressure. You can't get your meat up. That's where you're leading yourself. So how is she supposed to follow your lead, right? So lose that fat, man, because you're shooting yourself in the foot. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace.